what the folks in Washington, the Democrats, don't get is that I believe the sentiment of the Tea Party in terms of getting this behemoth called the federal government under control is the majority view of people in the United States,
right,
without question.
Right.
And so I would say to those of you that do fear an out-of-control federal government,
yeah,
come to the Republican Party. That is where we can do the most change.
Right.
So you have a lot of tax money that comes in every month.
Right.
And if you just prioritize the spending, there is plenty of money. There is plenty of money for the government to pay its bills. Absolutely plenty of money. The Republican National Committee actually received phone calls from employees of the National Park Service.
Oh,
who
really?
Said that they were specifically instructed to make it as painful as possible.
Right.
But we have employees of the National Park Service
right,
saying that was their instructions. Here's the debate that I wanted to have, and I
yeah,
was not allowed. People say that there should be free health care.
Right.
Any service or goods that depend upon the labor of another,
right,
if you demanded it should be free,
right,
then you're demanding the enslavement of the people who provide that good or service.
Thank you.
You have
slavery.
You have no moral authority. You have no moral authority whatsoever to demand for free the goods and services produced by another.
Right.
It's immoral. The Bible says a man or woman who does not work shall not eat. It's a biblical precept to understand that you must work in order to eat. It's biblical. If we have a society where people think they're entitled to eat without working, we'll eventually collapse. As you've seen with every socialist, communist regime in the history of the world, it eventually falls upon itself because you cannot demand, as a matter of morality, the goods and services of another for free. It's immoral, it's not right, and it's doomed to failure, which is the beauty of the capitalist system of free trade. I work, I get money, I exchange that money for something of value. That person produces that thing of value, accepts money for what he's produced. It's free, it's what's made this country the greatest, freest, most prosperous country in the history of Earth, and if we change that, we're doomed to failure. The whole progressive philosophy of government is that we know better than you do,
right,
A, on how to spend your money, and B, the corollary to that, how to give your money away.
Right.
So therefore, you shouldn't have that tax deduction because we know better how to give to the poor. We know better what charities are deserving. So again, it's the individualist philosophy versus the collectivist philosophy.
Right.
The progressives believe in collectivism. Republicans believe in the power of the individual, the freedom of the individual, which is what this country was founded upon. We had to have a war to break away from the collectivist philosophy. Right. That's why there's so much objection to Common Core and what's going on. The whole concept of a top-down educational system, that people in Washington somehow know better how to educate our children as opposed to our local school boards, but most importantly, mom and dad. Nobody knows better how to educate our children than mom and dad. The government through Common Core wants to take that away, and we have to oppose that at every level. We need to reinstitute the importance and value of mom and dad educating their children, not some bureaucrat out of Washington. And it seems that every generation we have to reteach the American people about the values of freedom, the values of the individual versus the overreaching government. And so what we have to do, Ronald Reagan did it. We need another leader and a spokesperson like Ronald Reagan who can again re-educate the people, as we have to, it seems, every generation, because our public schools don't, about the value of the individual versus the government.
That's a good point.
But that's one of our core values, is limited government and government spending only where necessary. And we need to get back to those core values. And with the help of the Tea Party, we are. Because with the help of the Tea Party, we're starting to elect congressmen and senators who understand that and will not go along just to get along up in Washington. Scare Tactic 1.0 was the sequester. Scare Tactic 2.0 is the shutdown. Scare Tactic 3.0 now will be the default. And if I have anything to say about it, I will encourage our Republican leaders in both the Senate and the House to stay strong, stand your ground. You're on the right side of the American people. You're on the right side of history. And history will prove that by standing strong now, you'll save this country for the next generation. Because right now, if we don't change things, we may get by and kick the can down the road for another few years.
Right.
But your kids, my kids, your grandchildren, my grandchildren will inherit a country that may not even exist. It's not even inheriting a country with less opportunity than we had. It's about inheriting a country that will not exist because of our spending that is absolutely out of control.